Ta-da! Good morning.
Good morning.
We are live. I'm Abe Nadimi.
I'm Jannica Morton.
Emily Francis.
I'm asleep. I'm Stephen Ellis.
So we're excited to be here. We are, our code word for today is hobbies and fun.
Yes.
And what we do with this show is we talk about different topics related to our wealth wheel. First of all, we just get a chance to talk about business, and we get, sometimes that means politics, sometimes that also means we work in some discussion about education, the news. Actually, right before we went live, Stephen was talking about Brexit, right? Brexit, not Brexit. Brexit.
Yeah.
So.
Let me turn this camera a little bit too.
Good stuff. This camera's off a little bit.
It needs to tilt towards you slightly. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
I mean, it was because that's what I was hearing in the car on the way over, and they were there. So on NPR, 9 o'clock in the morning, CST to 10 o'clock in the morning, CST, they put the BBC on, and so that's currently what the BBC is covering all day.
That was just the weirdest thing what they were doing in England.
What?
So they had to be a referendum to leave the EU.
Right.
And then they needed to go through a whole nother process, which is establishing how they're going to interface with the EU.
Yes.
And the people who didn't want to leave the EU could totally undermine that part of the process. Am I right?
Well, it's not undermined. They can lobby for other stuff. But the problem hasn't been that the people who didn't want to leave have been voting against the way that they're talking about leaving. It's that the people that voted to leave are also voting against the way to leave.
Right.
So.
But are they going to leave no matter what, and the EU is going to force them to just go figure it out later?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as it currently stands. Now, if some force majeure thing happens where all of a sudden all the parliamentary members for the European Council decide that they would rather figure out the best way for Britain to leave so it doesn't affect everyone's economy, because it will affect all the countries' economies, then that could be like the magical wiggle room that lets everyone get what they want. But essentially the Brexit, as at least it was stated up until like the last couple of weeks, have been saying the way that they want to leave is leave the EU, but keep everything else that makes the EU great. Borders, back and forth, like not having to go through customs, like all that stuff. But that's the benefit of being in the EU. And so really what ends up happening for what they put the European Union in a position of is if Britain gets that deal, that perfect sweetheart deal, every other country.
Of course.
Wow. Yeah.
So they don't really have an option to really let that happen.
It's phenomenal. It's interesting stuff.
But also it's just great, listening to the British Parliament as they go through their discussions, and you look at CNN, oh my God, we're completely tame by comparison.
Right. And we need to add Stephen's name to the display. What you think about all this, Emily?
I kind of figured it was going to end up like this to begin with.
Yeah.
So, I feel like a lot of people were really excited and really anxious and really stressed out about something that was going to kind of fizzle out.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of similar to what happens for us. It's just a little bit slower rolling process.
So I think that California is going to go out of the U.S. eventually, and we'll go through our own process. No.
Texas will do it before.
Texas will definitely do it before.
It's really funny because it used to be they would always make fun of Texas for having these conversations, and all of a sudden Trump got elected and the California wants to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for California doesn't really have that well defined of a prospect of doing that, because California is very intertwined with the rest of the United States when it comes to energy and other back and forth pieces. Whereas Texas, you close the border, we're like, that really sucks, but we also have all your stuff. And all the stuff from Mexico, we could keep.
You see those little pictures that say this is where you need to put the wall, and it's around the Texas
border
with Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Did you also hear the story about how people in Tijuana are stealing the wall and putting it around their house?
What?
Yeah.
I heard about the barbed wire.
That's what the wall is currently consists of.
Oh, okay, yes.
But
the barbed wire.
But also it's some of the slats and stuff too. So essentially we built the wall kind of, and then Mexico stole it, so Trump paid for it.
Right.
Oh, that's...
like.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. Anyway, that was
That's right.
fun politics stuff on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, it is. Well, today,
Well, not fun.
again, the topic is
It's
fun.
That can
It
be
is fun.
politics and
Go for it. Talk about fun.
politics.
We moved the whole schedule around so we could talk about fun on the day you're here.
We did. Yeah, we did. Okay. Well, I love fun. I don't see the point in doing anything in a career if you're not going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand people who pick a job that is work. So that's what I love about fun. I love that in our wealth wheel, we describe fun as hobbies and rejuvenation. And because some people, their work is their fun, but they still need time to rejuvenate. And so it's that combination because you need that time to relax. So for me, it's just as much fun to lay in a hammock and read as it is to climb or skate or go have a spa treatment or be in a brainstorm meeting. They're all equally exciting to me.
Right. Well, I think that's a good part. That let's tell some backstories, like how fun even got on our wealth wheel. Because I think at the time we had maybe, did we have seven, and then
we started with five.
Five, that's right.
And then we went to seven, and then we were
So we had this whole conversation, and I actually had a conversation around what are we intentionally doing for fun. And I actually started like, what do you do for fun was the question I heard. I was like, well, I'm doing all of this stuff. Like, my life is really, really fun. I get to do whatever I want to do all the time, in a sense, right? I craft the life I want so I can do what I want. But it's like, well, yeah, but how about in like specific times of the week or the day that you only go out and you do something intentional for fun, such as rock climbing or riding a bike or any of those things. So we had a whole conversation around, should fun be part of a wealth wheel? And then what does it really mean? Because there's, like, you know, we broke them up into rejuvenating and hobbies, as you said. And hobbies is anything that's not the rejuvenation. So hobbies could be riding bike, or it could be...
it could be writing proposals. It could be writing content.
Yeah. It could be writing content.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be writing if you want, right?
I always thought of a hobby as something that you're choosing to do, and there may be an end goal in mind, but it's also just something that you're just doing because you like the act of doing it.
Right.
Whether or not there's anything to gain from at the end of the day.
Well,
so you can ride bikes because you enjoy the health benefits, or you want to get to somewhere, or I just enjoy the wind in my hair, so off we go. Or I like almost being hit by cars constantly because it's Texas and
please don't say that.
It's a joke.
Please don't say that. I know somebody who's gotten hit by a car
So
physically multiple times.
Yes, I know. It's scary.
Yeah, because people drive like assholes around bikes.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about people with bikes on the street.
No. That's a whole different category.
This is not Amsterdam. I'm just saying, like, we're not geared up for that.
We're not geared up at all. But
4,000-pound vehicle, 150-pound person.
Right, but we also don't have sidewalks for it either.
No, we
so
don't.
there's not really
We don't have the infrastructure.
Yeah, but there's not really a path.
Yeah. Well, okay, so to go back to that, hobbies. So for me, when I got interested in web design and such,
Sorry, that wasn't really late.
when I got interested in web design and graphic design, I was spending lots of time creating things. That was a hobby for me. But I was also making money at it. And it was something where I released a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Endorphins? Is that
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Brain goo.
Yeah. And I didn't differentiate between getting paid for it or just creating it for fun. It's the same with right now, like with human design and Gene Keys. I don't necessarily care about charging people because it's just so fascinating to me and I have so much fun with it. Like, I get lost in it. So, yeah, it's...
But that was the whole conversation. Like, I'm like, well, I love what I do and I have a lot of fun doing it. But...
Are you intentional?
Am I intentionally having fun outside of this?
Right. Because
this is also called, quote-unquote, work by people. Mm-hmm. So... See, it was a good question and got me really thinking about that, right? So right now, in my way of being intentionally fun, it really kind of focuses around hanging out with my family, like, especially the boys, like specifically doing something with them that is fun and like budgeted in right now. I don't know.
So one of the things I do with my kids, since they all like gaming, is there's one game that I like to play on the PlayStation, which is Monsters, and so that's something that I do. To me, there's no value in what we're doing other than we just enjoy doing it together. So I guess that would be a fun, like a rejuvenation thing more than a hobby, you know.
What do you got? What you got over there, kid?
Oh, I guess in a way it's hard as the charity work and stuff I do. I find that as a hobby because it's something I do outside of work. It's something I will make time to do because I enjoy doing it, enjoy the side effects of doing it. I get that endorphin feel from, being a little goody two-shoes.
Mm-hmm. Are we using the right brain chemical word? Keep on going. I'm going to find it.
But I guess more generic hobbies, I really enjoy reading. I like going for walks. There's a park near my house that it feels really wooded and more natural than you would expect a random park in the middle of a suburb in a neighborhood to be. So I just enjoy getting back to nature that way. So I guess that would be another hobby / rejuvenation type thing.
I know, Stephen, you like to do games, right?
I mean, yeah, I'd say I split between games and TV, film stuff. Now that you can watch everything on demand, that works for me.
Yeah.
I would say games are probably my main hobby.
So it's not endorphins, because those are released during stress and work. Running really, really hard is one of them. I think the term we're looking for is dopamine, I think.
Both. Actually, both happen.
So what do you guys think of what Guy from Mars just posted?
About which part?
He says, I feel your ideal audience won't be here. I'm not sure, though. 99% here are kids or college goers who are here for women or gaming. At least that's how Twitch is marketed in media. I'm not sure the remaining 1% could probably be your audience. 1% would be about 10K.
Right. Actually, so that's probably something to speak to because that is exactly the view, and that's actually the whole reason why we're doing this.
Right.
So our audience does not currently use Twitch. We are actually trying to expand the audience that use Twitch as a platform for specific activities. So yes, Twitch will always be a gaming platform, but at the core, it's a broadcast platform. So,
and it's fun.
And it's fun. But one of our whole things is if we're going to be putting out content and trying to monetize content at some point, Twitch still has the highest monetization rate.
Right.
And all of our audience has Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime is the financial engine behind this. So, if we're going to be utilizing a resource, and most people don't want to pay for content. So Amazon gives you that perfect in between of they can pay for content with something they've already paid for that's free to them that Twitch makes available.
Right.
YouTube, you put the same amount of effort in, you get nothing. So,
well, and I see it even more than that is that a lot of these gamers and college kids and high school kids and middle schoolers and whatever, and even adults that are on there, a lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of them are out-of-the-box thinkers just because they're
or want to be.
Or they want to be and they don't know where to go. So
right. But I think specifically a lot of people think about they think about it in more of a classic style, like when you design a show or you specifically key it to a certain audience.
Right.
So people are like, well, if gamers are there, then you should be keying it to gamers.
Right.
And it's actually less about keying it to the gamers, it's keying to the audience that exists outside the gaming sphere, and there might be some crossover.
Yeah, well, I see that. That's cool.
And we could be wrong, but also we can find out.
Right.
Well, for us, we're recording the video. Actually, our video segment here at the bottom says TKA Planning. At the very bottom, it's on the banner right now. The red banner.
I think that was
and it should be fun and hobbies.
Yes. Anyway, so the part of this is that we're obviously recording the information also, so we can share it back to YouTube and stuff. And so we wanted to play around with different platforms. Technically, this should be shown on LinkedIn in a sense, because LinkedIn is business, but LinkedIn doesn't even support this interface right now. Period.
Yeah,
and LinkedIn is just such a weird interface for me.
It's not fun.
And so that means it's Facebook, and then Facebook has its own its own issues and its own beast.
Right.
And so what's cool about Twitch for me is that we get to use the technology that's there more so than anything, like you said. Like, it has monetization tools and everything.
Yeah.
And we're playing around with this concept because the easiest way is to not go on Twitch and maybe go on YouTube, possibly.
But actually, no, Twitch still was the easiest.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, well, okay, where's a more businessy people like or whatever.
Yeah.
But we hit both with that. I mean, we can still move this. We can still post these videos to YouTube, right? So,
Well, guy from ours is right. I mean, this if we're streaming here, but then copying the video essentially and dumping it into Facebook, then we're missing the live interaction that we could have had in a better platform.
so
Does that make sense?
So Evan just said that we could be streaming to both YouTube and
We are.
Twitch at
We
the
could.
same time.
We can.
Yeah.
The only issue is I think it's a violation of the terms of agreement
It is.
to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. That's what I've heard.
So. I've seen a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
I'll go and look at the terms and figure that part out. But I mean, that was the plan. The plan was to be able to like go live YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at some point all at the same time.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, like broadcasting, like trying to key a broadcast into a specific channel, that's what killed half of the TV, like half of the current like TV watching paradigm. Because everyone's like, no, we want to watch this when we want to watch it on whatever device.
Sure.
So that's the future where it's going anyway. Like, I didn't watch any of the election coverage that happened over the last 2 years on a traditional
Yeah,
channel.
I didn't either.
I turned on YouTube, I went to CNN or CNBC or whoever streamed, and then that's how I watched it.
Right.
And I remember in 2008, that wasn't a thing.
Riot Games does that all the time. Awesome. That's great. So we should be streaming to multiple platforms sooner than later.
Yeah.
So I'm all about trying different things and experimenting with things to see what works, what doesn't work, how they all work. So a lot of what we do also, at least in this phase of the business, is to just learn, to play around with platforms, to play around with tools so that we can ultimately, be better for ourselves, but also help clients, right? Because a lot of individuals won't spend the time to figure this out. They'll do the most obvious thing, which is post to Facebook. Right, or I guess that would be it right now.
Or
right?
Facebook,
Post to
maybe
Facebook
Instagram, and depending. So there's a few platforms, but again, this being a new cutting edge situation that not a lot of people are familiar with, there's probably a huge opportunity. Again, primarily it's games right now, but I mean, YouTube is something that I use a ton for like trying to figure out how to do something. So if I can watch someone doing something like that's music classes and art classes and all kinds of things that people could be doing live on Twitch that just aren't being thought about, not because it won't work, but just because we haven't done it yet.
Well, and also, Abe, and I say this all the time, it's that this is our game. Entrepreneurship, this is this is what we do. This is
the game of business.
It is. It's a game of life, too. And on top of that, this is fun for us. Experimenting here, doing this is a fun
and
hobby.
but we are excited to have actual gamers as part of the conversations.
Yeah.
Right? And and once we kind of figure out how all this works and we're able to tie in somebody from a different location into our stream, then we get the opportunity of actually having conversations in this space around people that professionally play games.
Or design games,
or design games,
self-taught, and
it's just a massive
creative learners and people who don't follow a traditional path. I mean, that's how and why so much tech blew up with young people.
Right.
Is you're like, I don't have to do it your way. I'm going to do this thing I want and figure it out. And that's like the Kinetic Experience in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a good question, good comment. And thanks for that feedback on Riot Games, because definitely want to check out expanding. I mean, we have the software, right? Like, I think we could push to multiple channels at the same time.
Right.
And so that's the cool part about buying a dedicated server just for being able to do was it OBS? Online Broadcasting Studio?
Yeah, we're using OBS. There's two types. So there's OBS and then there's Streamlabs OBS, which is the, I guess, official-ish. It's one of the other most popular thing for Twitch.
Sure. Steven, explain what this is.
Explain what it is.
What is the question?
Yeah, I'm actually about to respond to that. Yeah.
We'll do it live. So what this is, there you go.
I was trying to throw it into chat before, like, just going for the audio. But yeah, we are streaming conversations from our office as we talk through all of the different elements that make up business, and specifically surrounding the Kinetic Wealth Wheel, which outlines what we think is a complete holistic view of what the business owner operator should have in their life. Yeah. Is that?
Yeah. We have 10 topics, 10 resources. So wealth is defined as the abundance of possessions, resources, or money. And so in resources, we felt from the perspective of the entrepreneur, things like creativity is a resource that they're bringing into the business, and love is something on purpose, and so forth. And so ultimately, we have beat that wealth wheel up 100 different ways, and we'd love to make it 11 or turn it back to 9 if we, but right now it's 10, and each of those is broken up into 2 subcategories. So, for example, love is around core and tribe, or today it's fun, and fun is around hobbies and also rejuvenation. So, what the whole purpose is a different word from holistic is just whole life. So, approaching the entrepreneur and what they go to build more than just like what is the income amount that they're bringing in. So that's kind of like there's the wealth wheel, right? There you go. Pretty awesome. So we spent a lot of time really figuring that out, and it really allowed us to have conversations with entrepreneurs. So we had a lady here from the Cayman Islands. Came on.
I was like, what's wrong with these people?
See, we have fun.
We do. And it was really interesting, the way she was perceiving certain things, or the way she wanted to have bigger impact in head. And so it was a really great way to have conversations around what is going on in her life right now and what she wants it to be and what are the steps to get there. So ultimately, that's part of what we do here in this particular live stream, is discussing different aspects of aspects of what we have going on with the wealth wheel. But then generally, like if there's business things coming up, we want to also share with you kind of like what's going on in the building of the company. Last night, we had a little tech issue. Otherwise, we would have actually live streamed our monthly meeting. So that was the first monthly meeting in our expanded, larger team, and really figuring out like really what is the direction of the monthly meeting? What should it be in it? What should be out of it? How do we get to where we want to be? And so just kind of showing that kind of stuff, because like Jannica said, this is kind of our game, if you will. This is how we want to share this aspect of it and how we build this business and how we ultimately are using. It's just an expression of our life, anyways.
Well, and it's showing the behind the scenes of how we play this game. This is how we do entrepreneurship. This is how we're building our business. This is how we support our clients. This is how we support each other as a team, and giving back to whoever wants to watch us and learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like our longer term vision of the stream here is to have different guests roll in, whether they're companies here at our co-working space or other experts that are local or far away, or young entrepreneurs, older entrepreneurs, anybody really.
People
just kind of
who
really
need to
talk
Twitch.
about this, and really can't wait for us to get like our hopefully this works, right? The Twitch community. So. Bringing some of those people involved. So the question is, so are you talking about hobbies now? Yes, and it's kind of like a code word, so we can veer off the topic, but it'd be really great. We kind of have it as not like the main focus. So, we were talking about England a second ago, but now we're, talking about what the purpose of the feed.
That kind of does tie into the hobbies thing, though, because I would say that, like, the 3 hobbies I have are, like, watching politics, playing video games, and then, thinking of new businesses. So that's the reason that the reason the Brexit thing came up was because I was like, hey, like I listen to that in between things as part of my hobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then what do we start doing? What else are we talking about? Because then
I would say like on a physical side for myself recently, quite frankly, kind of scared to do physical stuff because every time I do it, my back goes out.
Right.
So recently I've been doing the rowing machine and doing some stretching, and starting I think yesterday morning, where my back's got progressively worse. Now it's not super bad. Like a month ago, it was so bad I couldn't walk. Like I just absolutely could not walk. I had to have people help me walk. So thinking through what hobbies means to me, some people, and I like rock climbing. I love wrestling. I like, Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of stuff, and I played around with those things just a little bit in the past. But man, it is painful. Like just something happens and then either my neck goes out or my lower back goes out. So to me, hobbies
they're changing.
They're painful.
Well, they're painful if you define them as it's something that you do outside, right? And that is very physical. Mm-hmm. So for me, it tends to be more around like reading fun books, or I don't know. I mean, I don't really.
You get a lot
that I
of
would
fun
call-
out of what
no-
you're studying with meditation and
absolutely.
and self-awareness.
So exactly. So studying, I guess, is one of my hobbies.
Yeah.
So that's not quote unquote work related at all. There's no client thing tied to that. There's no way to bill for that.
And that to me is why it's a hobby. Because like something physical outside, well, bricklayers are physically doing something outside, and I bet you they don't think of it as a hobby.
Well,
So
right.
it's-
There's
so
that.
the definition of it should just be what is that feeling that you get from doing it, more than a description of what the activity is.
So one second, I will say something before everybody forgets. Like, I don't know if you guys know this about Steven. Steven's apparently brutal and lethal with his hands, which I didn't find out till like 6 months ago.
What?
Is that how you got your back hurt?
How is he?
Did you mouth off?
What is it you do?
So I've done jiu-jitsu, American karate, a little bit of Krav Maga.
Oh, yeah.
And then in high school I did a little bit of MMA.
Okay.
This guy,
Makes sense.
it's like the Bitcoin guy or the blockchain guy.
Yeah.
He's just all like proper and sophisticated. He's like, I kill somebody. Like, what are you talking about?
No, you're not supposed to. But I mean, that's also Sejoy. He's a Wing Chun technique.
Yes, that's actually I think how the conversation
Yeah.
started. I was like, man, did you know Sejoy can do Wing Chun like that? You're like, well, I can do blah 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 or whatever.
But yeah, it's. I guess I could probably So that's the other thing. It's like, do you consider something to be a hobby even if you haven't engaged in it for a few years?
What do you mean?
So like for instance, I haven't done any martial arts practice in like 5
sure.
6 years. I would still consider that to be a hobby of mine, but I'm not actively engaged.
And that's up to you. So those that are watching the stream, can you actually share with us what your hobbies are?
Well, and Evan's sitting right here, and they can hear him, even though they really can't see him. Actually, maybe they can. I don't know. Can they see you? Say hi, Evan.
You probably can't see me now.
Okay, what are your hobbies?
Well, I would say fishing, playing video games, and working out, I guess. But
Wait, say it again because the audio is going to be kind of low.
oh,
Yeah.
fishing, playing video games, working out. It's pretty much. I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
What games do you
Reading
play?
about politics is pretty fun too.
Right.
How is politics fun? I just
It's-
don't get it.
Because
It's
Because you don't enjoy getting people all riled up the way some of us do.
it's like the
It's like chess, man.
it's like watching chess or like watching Go. Like have you ever watched people play Go? So
Dude, I want to learn how to play Go. I bought the game and I bought the book. I just haven't
all of the different pieces
had anybody play it.
politics are, I mean, they are chess pieces, even though like they do have real world consequences and like they relate to people's lives and these are serious issues. But the method and the structure of how politics works is still very systematically a game.
No, I totally get that.
We all are in a pretty nice place of privilege that the politics shift around, but it doesn't exactly have the immediate ramifications. And so it is a lot easier to look at it as like, oh, this is a sport.
Versus, oh my gosh, this may straight up
Kill me.
wreck my business or destroy my family or change my
Yeah.
life forever.
So, yeah, that's
Take
kind
my
of
rights away.
That's kind of where the politics enjoyment piece kind of sometimes comes from.
Wow.
Evan, I think you should raise your chair. You're like,
I can't really raise it anymore.
Yeah.
I think
why?
it's alright. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not like. Really
Anyways,
enough
it's fine.
space in the house,
Here.
but the vertical part should be.
sort of slouching.
Anyways,
There you go.
so and it is important for us again going full circle back to why this is part of entrepreneurship. So if an entrepreneur is not having fun in their business, then they're just going to be miserably rich. Period. And if they're not focusing on incorporating fun either in the day or specifically on the weekend, yes, actually is 15. So if you're not incorporating that, you get burnt out. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs that talk about that issue and they get burnt out really, really hard. So it is really important. Not to mention the fact that just business should be fun if you construct it in a way that's just more than acquiring money. Because that kind of goes back to the conversation we had on Wednesday, I think, which is some individuals will work really, really hard to create money to then turn around on the weekends and when they retire to have the fun part. So if you can kind of blend those together, you're always having fun and you get to make money.
This is true. I mean, there's also...
Just makes way more sense to me than the other way.
Yeah. I mean, there's also... there's a piece of... I feel like there's a lot of people nowadays, and this is probably indicative like across the entire world, that are unwilling entrepreneurs.
Unwilling entrepreneurs? What do you mean by that?
They're not entrepreneurs by choice. They're entrepreneurs by necessity.
That's a very interesting point.
So that's kind of that's a
whole different mindset.
And I think that's where most people fall into it. I think most people I don't think a lot of people set out saying like, I really want to be an entrepreneur, but an opportunity comes up and they kind of follow the path, and then it happens. And then there's some people that are like, I got fired and became an Uber driver, and then I realized like, oh shoot, I'm a small business owner, so like I kind of structure my life that way. So there's two of those. That's, I would say, the mass of entrepreneurship is crashing in that way, and then layered on top of that is what we see, like all the Silicon Valley tech kids. But that's the one that everyone talks about and semi ignores all the underneath.
Well, the non-sexy ones.
Yes, yes.
Like the mom who decides to start a business so she can have more money to then feed her family.
Right.
And instead of just working for somebody else all the time. Absolutely. Well, you did a lot of work from home for a long time.
A long time. Yeah. That's since 1998 I've worked from home. And I think as a mom or as a parent, if you can make that choice so that you can stay home with your kids when they're little and work and still make money and all that, then you have a good balance as a parent and in your career and to bring money in. So that was the choice I made. I just knew I couldn't put them in childcare when they were little.
So I'm going to say this too, if you can drop this into the chat. So if you're interested in the Wealth Wheel, we're soon to release what we have as a 10-day challenge. It's a free program for you to actually kind of go through this Wealth Wheel, create your own, grade your own, and then also ask other different questions for yourself as you think about the life that you want. So we'll put a little note of the same stuff there. If you're interested, reach out to us, send us a message with your email address, and we'll add you to a list of individuals that we'll post that out to whenever it goes available. I think we're hoping for in April. Is our goal? So what is...
Hopefully first sprint.
Did you say drum and bass?
Drum and bass.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I just started. I basically listened to the same thing when I was on the rowing machine the other day.
Yeah.
So I'm blaming that for blowing out my back.
It's just really good rhythmic, like it just works.
Yeah.
I put it in the same category as stadium rock. Like stadium rock it has the same 4/4 beat. It just kind of works really, really well for you. Like key into something, and say, okay, cool, 15 reps. This is going.
Wow, I can't work out to music. I think it's the craziest thing. Whenever I try, I get distracted.
So I started using Weave Run as an app, and it essentially just changes the pace of the music that you're listening to match your stride.
Yeah.
So that as you speed up, the music speeds up, which then encourages you to keep going fast, and as you slow down, the music slows down.
I feel like that's like a one-way ticket to a heart attack. Like faster music, I'm running faster.
Well, the fact that you're setting it will then end up causing you to like slow back down as your pace decreases, but just something about matching your feet to a cadence of music is why more upbeat music is often easier to run to.
Well, you know what's interesting for me is that I recently realized that, like right here, heavy metal so when I work out weights, it's a different kind of music than when this new thing that I found, this rowing machine thing, which I love, minus the fact my current pain, like while I'm doing it, there is no pain because the way the motion is, right? And so if I get the right type of music, I almost can get into almost like a meditation.
Right.
Because it's rhythmic and the music is right there and I can close my eyes and just go right into that. I don't know. I thought it was actually really cool. Yeah. And I told AJ about that. I was like, man, I just tried this rowing machine. It was like last week. I was like, man, I've just been playing on the rowing machine. He's like, I think you'd really like that. You'd probably meditate kind of when you're doing it. So I was like, as a matter of fact, I just kind of figured that out.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like for heavy metal is great for lifting weights.
I think so too.
Like, it just works. Like some good like Black Sabbath during lifting heavy metal, like that's amazing. Yeah.
So when at our house, when Larry and the boys
you can
Scarlet, every one of them, it's all heavy metal. And so Scarlett's favorite is Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh,
is it your favorite?
Huh?
What'd you say? Who's favorite?
Scarlett's favorite to work out to is that, and there's Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Metallica.
Yeah, well, those aren't really heavy metal. That's just normal metal genre.
Oh, to me, it's heavy. It's loud. It's obnoxious.
Anything harder than Chopin is heavy metal to me.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or my Tibetan throat chanting.
Tibetan throat chanting.
Do you know the backstory on that?
What, for that comment or just...
Yeah, that comment.
Oh, no.
Grace and Frankie, but...
So I've been playing big band music here, okay? Just because I thought it's a good music for the office. It's
Wait, big band?
Yeah, like just old school jazz music.
Okay. See?
I'm just
hold on. Let him hold on.
I was looking at his face.
Please.
The reason
like coffee shop music.
I mean,
go
kind
ahead.
of, but like big band is like it's big, so like
no, this is quiet. There's not a lot going on. It's okay.
Because I was thinking like a trio for like
a nice quiet like jazz ensemble, not big band music.
Yeah, like
no, I'm using the word big band, but it's not crazy. It's not swing dance music. Okay, guys, calm the fuck down, everybody.
When you say big band, I'm thinking like Duke Ellington.
Yes,
like
no, okay. Yeah. So she makes some comment on it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fine. What do you want to pick? And she goes, Tibetan throat chanting. I was like, fine. So I pulled it off. She said, well, I really was just kind of joking. I was like, no, that's what we'll fucking do. So everybody was like meditating that day.
I know, and I got so much work done. Actually, if you guys could just like hum to me, I literally felt something time to go. So just everyone just hum at a real low bass. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I don't get when people listen to heavy metal and hard rock when they're driving. How do any of you do that?
I do that.
Yeah, why would you not?
I can't. It seriously stresses me out to the point where I cannot handle it.
Well, you can't do it and also go to the speed limit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can probably attribute most of my tickets to like that, but I mean, it's fine.
But no, I'm talking about in traffic. Like, you can't speed in traffic. You're stuck. But
no. Then it just helps you like focus some of the rage that you're feeling about the other drivers. That's what it does.
I can't. That when we used to commute, Larry and I used to commute from Gilroy to San Jose, so it was like an hour to 2 hours depending on the traffic, and he would have like intense heavy metal rock, and by the time I got there, I was ready to kill someone. Like I could not handle it.
Welcome to being a male.
No, I couldn't riding with him. Took my own car. Like, I can't do this.
For me, it helps like air drumming and air guitar, those things when I'm driving and there's traffic.
Yeah.
That helps me like kind of put out all the just that.
That's where I do a lot of meditation stuff. So I'm like, okay, don't kill anyone. In with anger, out with love.
Yeah.
And usually my hands will unclench by the time I get home. So
I listen to cello or violin or piano.
Yeah, so that induces sleep, which is usually the bad thing to do in traffic.
Oh no, it makes my brain go crazy and I think of all sorts of creative things.
So my problem is everything induces sleep. So it's like, I mean, I'm like a step above narcoleptic. I mean, not quite, clearly exaggerating, but
as long as I get to play, I'm bringing sexy back at some point during my.
That's delightful.
So I'm good. Like,
I don't know if you're being serious or not.
I'm not.
He's not.
I am.
Let's just go with he's
or
not.
the Megan Trotter song, "It's Good to Be Me."
Oh,
I think that's the other one.
I love her stuff.
Okay. I don't know what song like recently of.
What is future pop bass?
Well,
my fave is pop. Future pop bass. What is that? Like, I know what pop
it's not
music
cello.
is.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, there's like a billion music categorizations. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like
Holy shit! There's a billion music. Because I just went into Google Play and went to stations. I think they're called. So what's your mood? And you say workout, and then there's like.
There's
100 of them, and then you click on one, and then there's another 100. You click on another, like
it's like how hard do you feel like working out? What are you wearing? Like,
I thought there was
what are your shoes today? Like, I don't know.
I thought there were like 10 colors and 6 kinds of musics, but nope. There are so many different varieties to it. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And the younger kids have no idea that this was not all readily available.
No.
Just a few years ago. So
okay, back in my day, and I'm way younger than some of these people. Yeah, like you still got like cassette tapes and download and it just said downloaded, but no, I meant like stole songs off the radio by like hitting record, and you had to be ready to go because otherwise like you'd either get too much of like a commercial intro or you'd miss the start of the song. There's this whole thing.
Totally.
The pressure people my generation are under is.
So my first song that I did that to, I think, if I remember right, was Bon Jovi. I'm trying to think of the song. Yeah, I was like maybe 7 years old, something like that. 7 or 8 years old.
Mine was System of the Down song that was really popular.
Toxicity was the
System of the Down.
Oh, I love Ariana Grande.
Yeah, System of the Down was this would have been 2000.
What was it called? I know which one you mean.
And then there was like Papa Roach. That was another one. That was
yeah.
Can we just listen to Rage Against the Machine?
Chop Suey was the song?
Yeah.
Chop Suey?
I remember recording that onto one of my mixtapes. Yeah.
So for me, it would probably have been Erasure or Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Maybe The Cure.
Oh, I just found this. Well, man, I was
40.
not. I'm still not feeling great. But last night my stomach was hurting bad.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm on Instagram last night at stupid like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I find this artist named Billie
Eilish?
No, her her Instagram name is Where Are the Avocados?
Ooh. She's my people.
Billie, what did you say? Eilish, yes, that's her. 15.4 million followers.
She was at South by.
Is it Billie or
yeah. And then Eilish. Really chill music, got some good beats.
Christy was in love with her.
Why?
She just likes the music.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the music is pretty cool.
Which song does Christy like the best?
She listens to all of them.
Oh. She has a lot of songs.
We like that will happen whenever the two of us work from home.
Ooh, I like that.
What?
Whatever played it.
Yeah, that's the kind of like, it's really chill. That's I'm gonna see if I can find one.
I found like a future pop song here.
So we have basically settled on the hobby, or the through line for the hobby conversation is the music.
Music. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but that's
Can you hear this?
Nirvana. I love Nirvana.
You know what we need to do?
Oh yeah, I like this
Pretty
song.
good.
I do know the song.
That's what I found at 4 in the morning.
I
I like this, right?
We need to hook up Spotify, because if we connect Spotify, we can actually play it through the stream.
Well, right now we're going to be doing Tibetan throat chanting, most likely.
That's actually that needs to be the intro.
Yeah, I'll just do my version of it,
before we
so
start.
I can make sure I.
Go ahead, do your throat chanting.
I'm focused on. Guys, going to try to guide us towards talking about rejuvenation a little bit, just on the subject of you being old and crippled. Like, what things do you do to like refresh yourself when you are in such a
Where do you see this?
state?
What do you
I'm
mean?
literally talking to you about our topic.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Go ahead.
That was a question for you. Now it's your turn to talk. That's how conversations work. So I was asking, so now that you're having some physical difficulties, some of the hobbies that you might have enjoyed doing, wrestling with your kids, doing more slightly active stuff, does that transition into doing more rejuvenative activities? Like, you need to refresh your body by not focusing on work or physical activities. What else can you do to, like, come back on Monday?
Okay, so I spent a lot of my life, this is an interesting question. So I spent a lot of my life being proud of being a thinker, right? Like, I'm always thinking. That's an awesome part about me, right? And I would brag about that a lot. And then I started reading books in the last year around not thinking all the freaking time. And the thinking is, because when you're thinking, you're not being present, especially when your whole job is to be present, and then you take every idea and you run it down a rabbit hole mentally, right? So that's really kind of my thing right now, is that I don't want to sit there and just interact with something and then focus on some thoughts. And I used to think like, yeah, man, just laying around and thinking all day long, it's a cool feature of mine, right? That's a cool thing about the way I interact with the world. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be a thinker. It's just that I have to be right now more cognizant and focusing right now.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, what's happening in my mind right now is, an indicator about a text message that's sitting there on my phone, right? Normally I would have pursued that, like, think about it. What's going on with the message? What's the notification? But right now, like, I'm supposed to be focused here.
And that's why I'm so mean and made our meetings no tech.
No, it was great. And so there's that anxiety because I'm also addicted to the phone, and I'm mostly addicted to making sure that I'm answering specific people if they need to. And that's the shitty part of the notification.
Not wanting to let people down feeds into
Well, I don't want to slow shit down more so than that. But it's really cool. So, for example, the meeting last night, I texted Tangy. I was like, if you need me, call. Otherwise, I won't look at my phone. And if you saw, I really didn't look at the phone for 2.5 hours. Because everybody that would need anything from me on a day-to-day basis was here, and I could actually focus in and not be thinking about other stuff than just being present.
Yeah, that's been one of the things that I've made that effort to.
We're on a live show.
Being present in the moment and not just like, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'll just like screw around on my phone or whatever. So it's like, no, just look around.
Yeah.
Not at your phone. One, it's terrible for your neck and shoulders and back to do this all day long. But you miss out on some really cool shit by living in the little glowing square in your hand.
So I have been, that's one of my quote unquote hobbies right now is just focusing on being present. So wherever I'm at, if I can't go run around, I'll just focus on being present and enjoying, like you just said, all that stuff. So that's one way I've been handling it.
Because I'm not going to remember scrolling through something on Facebook, but I'm going to remember, like, oh my gosh, you remember that one time we saw that squirrel jump into that guy's car? Like, those are things you remember, not did I like that one day randomly?
But I think it's interesting. So somebody was telling me, the conversation was, we live in such a shitty time right now because you don't even know your neighbors. And I'm like, but is that a bad thing? I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just like, I challenge the need to have this nostalgia for an old style of living, right? I didn't get to pick any of my fucking neighbors at all. You know, and I'm not saying that.
No one ever does. That's the lie. No one ever got to pick
right,
their
but I can interact with people with this device that actually align with a particular part of my worldview or a specific core value, regardless of where they are in the world. So, I mean, I really think that the phone in some ways has been very liberating because it allows people to meet and interact with people that really are who they are, like align with who they are, versus the keeping up with the Joneses or keeping up with appearances because that neighbor is, you know.
Well, I guess, I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying, but I don't think of it as, you know, knowing your neighbors in the, like, I care if they have a nicer car than me. For me, it's if my dog gets out, the neighbors all know who we are. They know us. They know, hey, your dog got out. They're at my house now.
Well, that's
or
true.
When Scarlett used to go to the doggy door and crawl in bed with the neighbors.
Yeah,
no, that's true.
It's that sense of community by proximity. No, they don't have to be your best friends, but there are people that are literally near to you. So if shit happens, I can call you guys.
No, but I was different.
You don't live.
But you compared looking into a device with the people around, and I'm like, sometimes that is the best place to be.
Well, by excluding, I don't like just being present in the moment of literally that moment in time you're in. It's, I don't know. There's a place for both, but I think many people find that they've almost exclusively focused on one and completely forgotten about the other.
I think that's actually more a result of lack of personal relationship skills versus they just don't know how to interact with people in person. I can interact with people in person.
But you're not going to get better at it by never taking your phone out of your
They just don't value it right now yet. I agree with you totally.
I could totally challenge this. Social media helped me have a voice. Because before that, there was a whole group of people that I interacted with personally, but could not talk to them at the level that I talk to people. I don't do how's the weather shit. And you can't do that when you're like walking by someone in the hallway and when you're dropping off your kids. It's always like, oh, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. Stupid. Right? Whereas social media allowed me, Facebook allowed me to share who I am in a more authentic way, share the life experiences, and then I was able to really connect with people because I was able to talk to them. So for me, I developed my relationships through social media and not in person. In person, I suck at it.
What?
I do. It takes that barrier to break down because people have to either really pursue me to have a personal in-person relationship because I'm not going to do it.
True.
Or I'm just not going to. Or there has to be some really deep common thing that we can connect on. So.
PS2, that's awesome. I still have a PS3, so I'm kind of embarrassed by that.
I remember our first one.
I have my original PS, not even the PS1.
Really?
The original one, we did too.
Yeah, the big gray box. Yeah.
Yep. We played Oddworld on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of collecting these kind of things.
I told you I have an Atari 2600.
Huh? What?
I have an Atari 2600.
Oh, I remember
don't
those.
Remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So that's that's going back to the original.
Yeah. I think now the recent devices, I'm like, just keep them.
Yeah. I mean, like my goal at some point would be to collect all the different systems.
Right.
Just because.
I think we have the original iPad, or at least the iPad 2. I don't know if it's the original. But the original iPad is still like for $70 on Amazon or on eBay.
Really?
It's really cheap.
Yeah, I mean
because it's old,
but it's not
not sexy yet.
Old.
Yeah, it's not classic yet, right?
Like an original NES, that run you some decent money.
Right. Did you ever see my Atari jacket? I need to bring that mofo in. Yeah, I have like an original old school.
Yeah.
Did you actually wear it?
No, I bought it. I literally bought it.
Just to have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody posted it up on Facebook like, I want to get rid of this jacket. I'm like, oh shit. So that thing is an Atari jacket, probably from like 1983 or something. I can't remember. It's super old, and it actually fits me.
Yeah.
So I bought it and I just put it in the closet because those are kind of a. I mean, it's.
So there's another hobby
collector
collecting.
items. Huh?
There's another hobby collecting.
So it is collecting. I think for me, it's around kind of an. It's kind of like an investment. It's also like a conversation piece. So I was reading this book around. It was a dating book actually at the time, and it was like, whatever you put in your house, make it not just something you buy from the normal store. Like have a story behind it.
Yes.
So you can remember like, well, what did you get that table, or what is that, and what is that book about, right? And so everything should be, if possible, kind of like conversation pieces.
Yeah,
so if you walk into my house and see an old original Mac, or in our office or in our lobby, for example, like what is that? And it's a great conversation piece.
I mean, my bookshelf, it has like most of my sci-fi collections on there, and so like, my appearance does not come across as like hardcore sci-fi, and so people that come over, they see that and like, oh, okay, what is this about? I'm like, well, this is what I've been reading my entire life. Which is why I have most of the Warhammer series. Yeah.
They had. Is that the same thing as those? Yeah.
So
spend hours painting them and doing all this stuff with them.
Fantasy, Sigmar, 40K.
All.
Of course, it's all.
Evan's
gonna move in.
So between that and Battletech, like I have pretty much every single one of them, except for some of the really, really old original ones that are like still kind of stupid expensive on eBay, but they're coming. Like it's not. I started focusing on Viking source books, but like that's like.
Remember those comic books that came up on Facebook that I asked you about? Right? But it was like this whole collection of Facebooks of comics. There were like 50 of them, I think, for $70.
Yeah,
Jesus, do you hear it too? I think what we figured out on the Echo is that it's something for data signal gets crossed a little bit, right? Like there's some buffering in it or something?
Probably.
It's weird because the settings are the same and
that's what maybe it is, just
and
like
then it's back to normal again.
So it probably is a buffering problem.
Well, we need to figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, this is weird. I posted a link to our live, and it says that unless we own a time machine, it's not it's not real.
What?
The link?
Yeah.
Did you copy like the current one, like from today, or one of the?
No, I did the / Kinetic Experience TV.
Just put the link to your channel.
So strange.
I did. That is the link to the channel. That's crazy. Let's see what that does.
Well, what? I struggled with depression and social anxiety for 4 years before I started socializing on social media, and now, yeah, that's right. And now IRL as well. This is cool.
Real life. Yeah, I mean that's actually that I would say is the biggest benefit to what the internet. The biggest benefit we've gotten from the internet is that it does connect people across like really obscure interests and specialized interests. So you find someone that like cares as much about that thing as you do, and then like you realize that like okay, it's not just the weird thing that I do because no one else in my immediate life cares about this.
Right. Have you seen the movie Her?
Is that the one with the?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have?
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix marries a phone?
Yes.
You? Of course?
Yes.
And then also the other movie was Ready Player One, so that I saw. Both of those radically challenged the perception of what is normal life. Yeah. So in Her, I was not going to watch the movie. This
Spoiler
dude's like,
alert.
Nah, it's like 2 decades old or some shit. So, anyways, the guy's like dancing around with the phone and everything until there's these moments where Scarlett Johansson is the character of the AI operating system, right, or the phone, and she is interacting with the actor Joaquin Phoenix here, and what she ends up saying is just as though it was like a long distance relationship, and I'm like, why is that any different? Why is that any different than a normal long-distance relationship? Why can a computer not actually function in that role? What's actually happening? What's actually happening is that the person on the receiving end, the human in this case, was receiving all these positive brain signals and attachment, and this other person was able to fulfill them.
Yeah.
So why is it okay if the other side of the phone is a human on the other side of the country versus the thing talking to you through the phone is actually the computer itself?
I mean, I think it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
was he in love?
For him, yeah.
For him, yes.
Yeah,
I think so too. Like
you
the
don't
way
have
that movie
to
was.
have a person on the other end for you to be in love. It's just the
Even though you're in
experience.
love with a persona that a computer is portraying back, it wasn't until there was no way.
Okay, but here's the thing.
There's no way until I watched the
When you fall in love
movie.
with the real person, you're falling in love with the persona. You don't necessarily
Yes, I
even
know.
know that person.
I know, but it's a human being versus like this thing that talks to me through the phone.
But what's the difference? I totally agree
I'm
with
saying,
you.
yeah, it's not really that different.
I mean, that is the future we're moving toward. The future we're moving toward is that people will determine whatever they want for themselves, and then you will have like billions of variation of what normal life looks like.
Well, then that goes back
everyone's
to
going to marry their own customized sex robot in the future, so I don't think we need to really worry about developing ourselves as people.
La 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 la.
I
la, la.
said you're good now. No more earmuffs.
So I think it's just a really interesting thing. When I saw that movie, by Guy from Mars. So when I saw that movie, I thought, wow, it's such a great challenge to my perception of what relationships are around. Mm-hmm. So if watching that, if somebody can fall in love with a phone, then another man can definitely fall in love with another man. Why not? Like, what would be the issue there, right?
There isn't. Like, I mean, we have a society that's split between people that care a lot about controlling everyone else, and people that don't care about anything but what they want to do, and that's the conflict.
Yes. So I just read something today that I loved it. It took love, LOVE, and it whatever that's called when it does that, and it said
Acrostic.
Yeah, what's it called?
An acrostic.
Yeah, an acrostic, and it says what does it say? Let others voluntarily evolve. So love, and when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, yes, because if you just let go of that control.
Yeah, but it's also a perception that you can control anything, right?
Well, you can't.
But
that's what we try to do, and that's what society tries to do. We define it and everything, and if you just let love be love,
just
whatever that is.
And then Ready Player One, watching the people dive into this digital space and
just exist and do everything.
And,
I mean, honestly, so when we were looking at the IRL categories for Twitch, that's what people are doing.
What do you mean?
People are I mean, it's not in a VR setting, but people are basically doing everything that they want and streaming it, and that is part of their life. Like there's people painting, there's people doing crafts, there are people watching TV shows, reruns of TV shows, and adding their own commentary.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So basically, me watching TV. Sorry, everyone.
Right. But there's audiences for all of these things, and I think we're definitely going to a point where there will be a bunch of audiences of 10 or 5.
Yeah.
Where people collectively do stuff separated by like millions of miles, but that is their new neighborhood.
So don't let your dog out, and you don't have to worry about having to actually interact with the humans that live around you, Emily.
But I like interacting with humans because I'm not a robot. So I don't understand why I would intentionally decrease the likelihood of creating interactions with people.
Oh,
I'm all about making more of them.
Oh yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'm definitely about decreasing the interactions with people.
Yes, you are.
Well, I am to the extent that being around a lot of people sucks my energy. So
right.
In that I escape people, and certain people I completely avoid.
Being around a lot of people can be tiring for me, but being around a few people, it's like you can be together for 29,000 hours, i.e. the people I do the charity stuff with, it's like, oh my gosh, we've been here for 17 hours. And it's like, my legs are going to fall off, but like, I don't feel drained.
Well, right. That's what it depends on the people and the engagement.
And that's how you know who your tribe is, if you can be with them for that long and not be like, I'm going to kill all of you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can
just drive to the woods for some reason. Don't worry about it.
But we should try to cap this since we're at our hour.
Yeah, I was about to.
Cool.
You guys are all wanting to be talking in person, so I didn't want to stop you.
I'm sorry, we're...
Okay, well, really quick.
Yeah.
Evan found... Well, Tell them about this.
The TwitchCon?
Yeah,
Is September 1 to 1?
I don't care.
Okay, well, there's 2 TwitchCons this year. There's one that's going to be in April. It's at Berlin, so doubt you're going to go to that one.
Yeah, let's go to that one.
There's going to be one in September in San Diego, California, so you'll be able to go to that.
In September?
Yeah, in September.
So what do you think would be the benefit of us going?
You could, because they're going to have a meet and greet section, you'll be able to interview any content creators who got partnered with Twitch and were invited to go, and they have a whole list on their website of who's partnered at the event, so you can interview them or whatever you chose to do.
Yeah. That is
cool.
That is a direct benefit. And cons for any specific platform or whatever, it's just meeting more people, and that's growing audience and channels. And
So we need to be in Berlin in 2 weeks and San Diego.
Yeah, it's
Got it.
already all.
Sign me up. Let's go.
April
That would
13,
be
14.
fun.
You can go, but they're already sold out, so.
Oh.
you just kind of like looking like.
So I've gone to VidCon before, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in and being involved in our live stream here today. My name is Abe Nadimi.
I'm Jannica.
Emily. I was reading.
And I'm Steven.
So thank you very much. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.